ground, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hardest part of the ring, Kyle Bird. How the heck is everybody doing? I'm doing well. I'm a little crispy. You're watching on YouTube. By the way, there is a YouTube version if you're not aware. A little crispy today. Spent the weekend at the beach in the Outer Banks. Really, just my face and my tummy that are burned. If you were asking, and I know you were going to. So, got a burnt tummy, but a tummy full of desire to talk about Progress Wrestling. Come on now, we're having fun. Progress Wrestling, Chapter 27 is what we are here to discuss today. Now, don't change the channel. Don't turn the dial. Don't go to Joe Rogan or whatever the hell you listen to. Progress Wrestling. I know some people, you might be checking this out for the first time. You might be like, hardest part of the ring, I don't know what did dilly-daddle about Progress Wrestling, so I'm gonna shut this joker off and go listen to Jim Cornette talk about cheeseburgers. Don't do that. Don't do that, listener, because I'll have you know, if you're not aware, that I'm also working my way through Progress for the very first time, discovering things, experiencing things for the first time. We don't review on the Apron Bump, we relive, right? So there's something there. But if you're not aware of Progress, and by the way, this show is a good one to jump on because it's a lot of milestones getting hit on this show, a lot of big things getting established. But if you want to experience the journey that we've taken to get to this point, from chapter 1, every single chapter onward, you can go to apronbump.com and you can go to the episodes tab at the top, select Progress Wrestling, and that'll bring you to all of the Progress chapters I've covered so far in chronological order, or go onto your favorite podcast platform or YouTube, find the Progress playlist, search out Progress. You're there. You know how these things work. You found me. So obviously you know how to listen to podcasts. But just in case you shared this with your grandma, hi Bertha, then now you know how to get there. So, but with that being said, chapter 27, like I said, big show. Lots of good wrestling as per usual, but also a lot of, how do I put this? I'll just say this. There's a lot of variety on this show. There's rap battles, there's British legends, there's big meaty men, there's high flyers, there's new titles getting introduced, there's partnerships with WWE getting introduced, there's a 9-man Thunder Bastard match, the third ever Thunder Bastard for the Progress World title. Super heavy star power in the main event. Also, you got we got the culmination of the London Riots and Sumerian Death Squad, which is a it's not the best, but it's hilarious. That's all I'm gonna say. So you better stay tuned for that. Other than that, what else is there to say? We have a good old time. who's we? It's not just me. It wouldn't be we if it was just me. My guest on this episode, Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast, returning to the show. Always a good time with Brettathan. Go check out the Brainbuster Boys podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Also on YouTube, they go live. They do lots of stuff. Go check out the Phoenix Splash podcast that Brett does as well, covering Japanese wrestling. And they do it all. I mean, the Brainbuster Boys, they cover some current stuff. They cover some old stuff. They have their own spin on things. They have their own like storylines that you have to listen to it to understand it. But it is very unique. One of the most unique and entertaining podcasts out there for wrestling. So go check them out. Great time. You can check out the episode I was on covering the Royal Rumble from 2000. So, which is a few months ago, but okay, you know how to find that stuff, right? With that, yeah, follow me too while you're at it if you want. Don't blame me if you don't want to. At Apron Bump on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, MySpace. I think I say MySpace every time now. It was a joke, but now it's just a muscle memory that I say it now. And with that, I think we're ready to progress into the episode. Come on, it never gets old. That's the name of the wrestling company. It's also one other word. Progress Wrestling Chapter 27 with myself and Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast. Only semi-chubbed this afternoon, but we'll see where it takes us.
I'd say so as well.
But yeah, dude, appreciate you coming on again. Appreciate
always a pleasure, and especially for some fucking progress.
You're a progress guy now, I think,
I'm
right?
big time, big Origin guy, as you know,
dude. I fucking love the Origin more than anything else in this world, and they are all over the show.
On the motherfucking road again. Here we are.
Let's do it. Here I am. Here we are. I like that. That's fun.
I told you that was full chub shit there. So I think we'll be okay.
Dude, yeah. They're like I said, they're spread throughout the entire show. So lots of Origin to talk about. But chapter 27, man. So I think what was it, chapter 23 that we last did, right?
I think that's right. Yeah. 23 or 24, but I think 23.
Yeah.
Whatever one Rampage Brown and Big Daddy Walter broke the ring on the opening.
Hell yeah. And we got some big man news on this one. But since chapter 3, it's been probably like 6 months or so. But I guess in comparison, like comparing this show to chapter 23, was there anything that stuck out to you as different or surprising or anything that caught your eye?
There's no Mr. Kako. That was a big absence.
It was an absence.
It felt, I guess, overall, it just felt like a more serious show. This show,
yeah.
Like I don't think there was really much of any comedy. You know, maybe little bits and pieces, but nothing where it was like a whole comedy match like the old Kako.
I mean, there was a rap battle, but that was I would say the rapping was better than the condom on a finger.
Yeah, unfortunately, there were no bitch ass wiggers.
I mean, there might have been, just nobody called them out on it.
Yeah, I mean, bald asshole Paul Robinson is basically a bitch ass wigger.
That's close. I mean, baggy jeans and the music he was coming. Yeah, I mean, that's as close as you get. But
which I saw he and Ospreay actually reunited at like a recent Progress show.
I did. Yeah. That was like very recently. Both of them had been gone for a while. I know Robinson had some like.
Yeah, did he get exonerated of his bald assholeness? I guess.
I guess. I know, but Robinson was. I forget the exact details, but he was involved in some speaking out stuff. But I guess it turned out to not be true or whatever. So, but there's still like I don't know.
There's still some stink on him.
Yeah, for sure. And Ospreay's always got whatever Ospreay carries with him. So, but I guess I think Will and Progress didn't like each other for a while. I'm not too familiar, but that they recently came back as a tag team, which was a big deal. If you're in the Progress universe.
I guess they're both from Essex. I think I remember it's like an Essex name, but I can't remember it exactly.
The Swords of Essex.
That's right.
Was their tag team name. Yes.
That's right.
We get a little taste of that on this show, but we won't blow our load Too early. We got a lot of edging to do on the way there.
Oh yeah.
And I should say though, also it's a 4-year anniversary of Progress this show.
Yeah,
which is fun.
And Easter Sunday.
Easter, Jesus is here.
Yes.
Oh man, it all comes.
Jesus must have drove Mr. Kako away.
That's a sentence that was said. That's no longer a sentence that hasn't been said on this podcast.
That is correct.
So I appreciate you for that.
You got it.
So Jim Smallman starts off the show as he always does.
He's
your
back.
boy Jim, always there.
Oh,
and,
I heard but to butt in. I listened to some previous of the Progress shows. One of which it wasn't the most recent, but with Matt from the Shining Wizards.
Yeah, he wasn't a big fan of the British.
Not too fond of old Mr. Smallman, and just the British in general. So.
This cocksucker. Who does he think he is? So he's doing comedy.
I think I dig it, but it's like, all right, let's just get to the fucking matches already, Jim. Come on.
Well, you don't like a bit of banter?
Right? Witty banter, mate.
Oh, too right, you. The Office.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, he at least has some substance this time. He has 2 major announcements. The first of which being, I guess, on the next show, they're going to have British qualifiers to see who will be entered into the WWE Cruiserweight Classic, which is huge. I believe. Did you ever watch that, by the way?
I definitely did. It was outstanding. And I want to put over to 2 friends, High Five Tom and Justin from the Just in Time Wrestling podcast. They did like a whole review of the whole series maybe 2 summers ago on Marking Out with High Five Tom. But I didn't rewatch it, but I listened to their all those shows and just reminded me how great that was. And just like, that was before I was even really into like Japanese wrestling or anything really much beyond WWE. So that was my first time seeing Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. So very, very fond memories of the Cruiserweight Classic, no doubt.
It's so wild that you just have Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi just casually on the WWE network.
Yeah.
And then they left. Like they just came and
in 2016, these days, especially with Triple H or whoever the fuck is running things over there. I mean, the fact that like Shinsuke Nakamura went and did a Noah show, it'd be a little bit more believable now, but like 7 years ago, knowing the way WWE was back then, like it's shocking that happened, but fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, WWE, they have Progress on Peacock now. I think it didn't start till like the later, like near the hundreds of chapters. So.
And like WXW, which is, I think, the German promotion. Yeah. So yeah, like a lot of weird shit on there that I haven't really dove into any of that on the Peacock, but probably some pretty good stuff out there.
For sure.
Excuse me, on the cock. My bad.
We're talking wieners.
Yeah.
We're talking wieners, everybody.
Always.
So yeah, I guess it was Zack Sabre Jr. and I think Jack Gallagher.
Gallagher was in it. Yeah. Which obviously was the first time I saw him, and he certainly was very fun on this show as well. And
for sure,
a shame that he got spoken out, or that he got spoken out on, that he did the things that he did. My bad.
It's a shame the cat got out of the bag on that one, huh?
Oh man, I wish he didn't get caught. Fuck
these these snitches, man. You can't trust them. Can't trust them.
But I always enjoyed him, in the Cruiserweight Classic, and I think, thereafter on 205 Live or whatever they had him doing, he's obviously a very unique fellow, and that's it.
Extraordinary, this Jack Gallagher.
Yes, I've heard that.
So that's the under 205 news, but there's some over 205 news, some big boy news slapping all over my face. We got the Atlas Championship being introduced here. Well, not physically introduced, but it's announced that it's going to be a round robin tournament that I guess is going to culminate. So I guess they have a big show at the O2 in September, which is like 10 chapters away.
Which gets referenced later in the show as well.
Yeah, and they're already building.
Yeah,
already building to the show. So, and this is just one element of it. So it's going to be the Atlas Championship, which I believe is still around.
Oh, nice.
So it's just over 205, which feels like I feel like it could be 205 and you're not like big.
Yeah, it should be. If you're talking like heavyweights, it should be like 250. Like
Yeah.
Should be a middle ground, a middleweight, if you will, if you're going to be doing this shit. Because to go from 205 to then 206,
Yeah.
like, oh
Right.
shit, I weighed in at 206 today. I'm fucked. But
he gets stripped of the title.
It did make me think, and I know I brought up Legends House on one of these of old.
You always got to.
Old Tony Atlas, who was kind of the pariah of Legends House, and everyone made fun of him, but he would always just laugh like this. So that's all I got.
So are you implying that this championship, this British championship, is in honor of Tony Atlas?
I am, yes.
Do you think the title laughs? Do you think it's like one of those like when you get a birthday card and it makes a noise?
I'll be curious to see what the title looks like. We got the Shield Tag Team Championships.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
I love that. So, obviously you're not there yet, but do you know what the Atlas title even looks like? Oh.
I had heard of this championship. I didn't know it was an over 205 belt. I don't know if that's still the rule or if they've modified that. I don't know what it looks like at all, but I hope it's just like a, I don't know, like a scale. Maybe like a Crash Holly back in the day. Like it's just a big scale you got to carry around.
Well, that'll be something for you to keep an eye out. I'm sure you'll be seeing it sooner than later.
I'll keep you updated. Maybe I'll bring you back on to enjoy the.
I would maybe love to do that O2 show whenever that.
That would be a dues.
Yeah, since I'm such a big Progress guy now.
Yeah, I
actually have quite enjoyed both the two shows I've watched. So
yeah, no, they're two good ones. I mean, this era. I mean, you don't really have a bad show. Some are better than others.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty tight.
Well, we open up with a natural progression series match, a semifinal match. We got Damian Dunn versus Pastor William Ever.
I mean, Jesus is coming, baby.
Is he? Jesus is coming.
So first, right off the bat, one thing I loved that was not there from the previous show was the match graphics. Because if you recall the last time or the first time we did it, I'm like, I don't even know who half these guys are. And when they're coming out to the ring, they don't even really announce them till they get in the ring. So that was certainly helpful for someone like me to be like, oh, okay. Put a name to a face right off the bat. So that was a good thumbs up from me for progress there. But
Look at that.
Jesus is coming and he's driving away Mr. Kako.
He sure is. Also, right off the bat, we get some Pearl Harbor.
The first of two, I think. Actually, I made a note. I had looked down or something, and I noticed Dunn had attacked, and I'm like, was that a Pearl Harbor job to start? So clearly you caught it. And I had listened to some of your show. It was like Royal Rumble 2003 with like Matt Ritter, Vince, and that gang. Yeah. And the Pearl Harbor job came up, and they were giving you a whole bunch of shit. And you're like, multiple guests have brought it up.
It's a rough one. It's a rough one when people don't understand what it is. You're just saying, yeah, Pearl Harbor over there.
If you watched any 80s, early 90s wrestling, I mean, shit, Gorilla Monsoon was saying that nightly, it felt like.
Right.
But
exactly.
Gotta love starting it off with a good old PHJ.
Love me some PHJ. Not OTPHJ. PHJ.
Yeah, let's not get those. Mr. Kako ain't here, as we said.
No condoms needed.
Yeah, or OTPHJs.
No, well, I mean, there might have been more OTPHJ in this. I mean, Damian Dunn is definitely a guy that would put a finger up your skirt in a bar, I think. I mean,
and he loves receiving them. He has to get one when he goes out.
Oh, for sure. That's definitely the vibe I get from this guy.
And it has to be over like if you start putting your hand down his pants, he's going to cut you off.
No skin to skin here.
No.
We want the mystery.
Yes.
We want the mystery. Got to have room for Jesus. But speaking of which, Jesus is here. And it's a fine little opener here. Yeah. You got two younger guys. You got Jesus with the he hulks up at some point, he does little prayer hands, and then we get a resurrection chant on that, which is pretty clever.
We get a fuck it up Jesus chant, fuck it up. That was fun.
Only in progress is where you're going to hear that.
I have a note here. Some of the chants from the crowd, again, like I can make out about half of them, if that. So I have a note. Sounds like crowd is chanting shit-stained notepads.
I thought somebody was implying, like from the crowd, I thought like Damien had a shit stain on his tights, but I was looking, I couldn't really see one.
Yeah. And like
so
probably wasn't notepads that they said, but that's what I made out.
That's probably what they're kind of stupid, really.
Shit stain, notepads.
No pads, no pants.
No
I don't
pads, know. Maybe, I don't know.
He did have knee pads though, so
fuck.
Yeah. I wish he didn't. But yeah, I've stopped like noting the chants just because they're all so like it's relentless. Like it's the entire show. You can do a whole show on just the chants.
Oh, for sure. But, and just trying to decipher them.
It's an acquired language. You learn the language as you go along. Yeah, nothing too crazy here. Solid little match. There was one spot. So Jesus was going for a cross body off the top rope, but he like Damien was like all the way across the ring, but William Eaver was like losing his balance, so he like had to jump, but he like jumped like all the way across the ring and got him, which is pretty impressive. Other than that, loved the finish. Got the cross power bomb, flipped up into a clothesline from heaven. Which for the win.
You gotta love that. I mean, come on. Playing on old fuckface JBL. Yeah.
Some good stuff there. Liked the finish. Good little match. And yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't believe I know Pastor William was not on the previous show I did. I don't think Dunn was. So again, 2 new guys for me. And yeah, I thought this was pretty good action. Obviously, the crowd way behind Jesus, as they should be. I mean, none of them, well, maybe some of them want to go to hell, but who knows? But yeah, nice super kick from Dunn for that near fall for 2 towards the end. But yeah, I quite enjoyed this. And I don't think there was really a bad match on the card, So this was pretty solid stuff.
Yeah, Damien Dunn has kind of like the few times I have seen him, he's come off very generic to me. And I feel like in this show, he's starting to kind of get more of a persona about him. He was really leaning into the heel stuff. The crowd was getting on him, shit hair, no fans, all that stuff. So that was cool. And Bill Eaver, by the way, I don't know if you caught that, which is he was in the
I didn't.
Nobody does. I didn't either until somebody brought it up to me. It's very clever.
Yeah, very clever. Dig it.
He's actually been around for a little bit because he was in the previous Natural Progression series. And the deal is, so whoever wins the tournament gets to pick one person from that tournament to be in the next one so that they get to come back. And he's the one that Flash Morgan Webster, who won the last one, he chose Bill Eaver to be in this one. So he's been around for a while and the crowd's really getting behind him. So
one other thing, when I looked up these guys, I noted that Damien Dunn now, his gimmick or his character is Chief Deputy Dunn. So something else to maybe look out for.
From past guests, they've alluded to that his gimmick is like the anti-fun police.
Okay.
Which kind of
makes sense.
Aligns with what he's doing here. So that could be something. Could be something. But we get something a little different after that. We get the extraordinary Jack Gallagher versus Johnny Kidd.
And I'll admit, I did not know who he was, but clearly a British wrestling legend. And the crowd was certainly here for it.
How old would you guess he is if you haven't looked it up already?
I think I did look it up, but I would have guessed like early 50s. And I think he may have been like late 40s at this point. I think he's like 56 or something now.
Unless I did my math wrong. I believe he's 60 years old here.
Oh, he's 60. Oh, he's 60 here. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I may have. Yeah. Okay. Fuck.
I could have done my math wrong, but fuck it. He's 60. It's my podcast. But as far as like his aesthetic, it is traditional British wrestling. Are you familiar with MMA at all? UFC?
Yeah. And you're right. He's 67 right now. So that checks out. I followed pretty diligently from like 2010. So I was in Des Moines, Iowa in 2010, and my buddies out there got me into it. And I was pretty into it for like 5-6 years-ish.
Same here, yeah.
Don't really follow or watch much anymore, but like I'm into it. If people were watching it and I was there, I'd definitely be down.
Pretty much the same here. I bring that up because he kind of looks like an old version of Cain Velasquez here.
Yeah. I can see that. The British Cain.
Ooh, either that.
That's gotta be Kane.
He kind of looks like Dave Meltzer too, if you look at him, which may or may not ruin this match.
A hybrid between Dave Meltzer and fucking Cain Velasquez. I see it. I see it. Yeah.
Didn't Cain Velasquez kill a guy?
Yeah,
I think it's somebody else. Yeah,
no,
okay.
he definitely did. Wasn't he in WWE for? Didn't he do a match in WWE?
I forgot about that until you just brought it up this second. I could have just been like, "Hey, were you watching WWE a few years ago?" But yeah, wow, what a weird timeline that was.
Was it? Okay, he had some matches in AAA. But he did wrestle Lesnar.
He faced Brock Lesnar for the world title.
Yeah, Crown Jewel 2019, 2 minutes 3 seconds. Yeah.
It was very bad. He was very bad.
And then he murdered someone.
I think that might have been after he murdered somebody. No,
I think it was
probably not.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt.
Is this alleged, by the way? I'll throw out alleged just in case.
Sure. Yeah, we don't want him to come after us. If he's not currently incarcerated, which I don't know.
Yeah, Well, speaking of incarcerated, we got Jack Gallagher here, and I think he's actually like an MMA or something. He's doing like some like bare knuckle boxing or something.
On the last show, about that, like doing whatever he's doing, but yeah, he's doing something.
Well, he's doing something here as well. We got. I mean, if you know these guys, if you know Jack Gallagher or Johnny Kidd, you pretty much know what you're getting. It's very traditional British wrestling. I mean, I really enjoyed this for what it was.
I did too. Yeah.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was very unique.
Yep.
I don't know. Anything stick out to you in this one in particular?
Again, just the variety. These shows I've seen just have a lot of variety, and yeah, this was just your classic catch chain wrestling. Largely, a lot of fun like counters and escapes. So if it, I wouldn't call this a straight up comedy match, but there was a lot of laughs and comedy throughout this. But
right.
Yeah, obviously for not knowing who Johnny Kidd was, like the guy was certainly legit and the crowd loved it. But yeah, I, again, quite enjoyed this and just nice, good stuff here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. This show, I don't know if there's any other show in progress that I've seen that's had more variety than this show, just all around. But yeah, to your point, very, lots of counters and submissions. I mean, the general theme here is that it kind of, like you said, it starts off lighthearted. There's some comedy. There's one point where Johnny Kidd has like an abdominal stretch and he like teases he's going to stick his finger in Jack's ass. So we're having fun. And we're doing like some light chain wrestling in the beginning. Then it like gradually ramps up. The submissions become a little bit more intense. You got some very unique like Indian deathlock figure fours that I've never seen.
Surfboard thingamajigs.
They were beautiful. They looked painful. But hopefully, or eventually ramps up. A few strikes, like a few elbows and shoulder blocks start coming into play as the intensity kind of crescendos. But at the end, crescendo. Fuck. I'll decrescendo you all day, baby.
Please.
Yeah. So I don't know what that means. Jack Gallagher wins with a sunset flip into a jackknife pin. And yeah, good classic British wrestling. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, there was one part where Gallagher was down and it was like a lot of like, I put a series of funny one counts where Gallagher just kind of like kept slipping his arm up at one and everyone was laughing. Yeah. He hit I put Kidd literally stretching him out and Gallagher with a little inverted Orange Cassidy kicks. If you remember, he was like upside down and just like kind of giving him little kickies.
Like he's riding a bike upside down.
Yeah, precisely. And then, you mentioned it, surfboard stretch by Kidd, Gallagher with an Indian deathlock variation into a bridge. So, yeah, just some wild kind of Zack Sabre Jr. type shit going on here. So, yeah, love to see it.
Also love the point where, so Johnny Kidd, like, drop toe holds Jack Gallagher, and he, like, has to fight to get him down. And then once he does get him down, he, like, ties his legs up, and Jack's like, I don't know what to do. So they just shake hands and release it. And then they get back to it.
That was good as well.
And then Jack tries to do the same to Johnny Kidd, but then Johnny Kidd just knows how to get out of it. So Jack's all pissed. So there was a lot of that in this match, but I had fun. I had a good time.
Couldn't agree more.
Which is all you could ask for.
Yeah.
But we get something a little more colorful in this next one. We got Body Guy Roy Johnson and his Waste Man Challenge.
Oh, man.
Are you a waist man, Brett?
I wouldn't say I personally like have the waist, but I'd call myself a waist man. Yeah, I love
You
it.
release the waist, right?
I love a nice waist. Dave Mastiff was definitely, of course, once we heard the music, holy fuck, yeah, getting me a little rocky down there.
Oh, you mean can you hear it?
No.
God damn it.
I can. There we go.
There it is. Okay, it's just a lag. It's cool.
Oh.
There we go. We'll just let it sit in the bed. There we go. That was so funny. No, you're ready for this?
I even put Johnson cut some nonsense promo, and now the show has really begun. Here I am.
Here I am.
On the road again.
So, Roy Johnson, it's his Waist Man Challenge, which I guess you get the choice of either rap battling him or wrestling him. So, once he lays out this challenge, the origin music plays, and all four of them come out on the stage, which is just an awesome visual.
Majestic.
With like the lights, the glare of the lights, all of them just sit like the music. It just made me come out my ass.
The show has begun. You know, like me and
now,
some buddies
here.
have a joke that a Kenny Omega match does not begin until the first V trigger is hit. So I will say a progress show does not begin until you hear I am on the road.
Here I am.
So here we are, baby.
So Dave Mastiff accepts the Body Guys challenge here. By the way, Roy Johnson, are you familiar with Roy Johnson?
I was not at all. No.
I am not either. I've heard the name, but I didn't know what to expect here. But if for anyone unfamiliar, his aesthetic. So he comes out. First of all, there's cheerleaders.
He's the most wavy man in professional wrestling.
Big wavy, I believe he goes by now.
Yeah.
But cheerleaders come out. You got the neon colors. He has like this like singlet. He's a power lifter, I guess, as well. So he has like a traditional
body guy.
I guess that's what it means, right? So, but he has like a power lifter singlet, but it's like bright green, and he has like the sunglasses that like blink like Naomi's championship belt. So he's very oh yeah, who's Naomi? That's not even a person.
No.
So
kind of like Braun Breaker meets Trinity here. Because I feel like Braun Breaker would have these similar singlet, often, not anymore, but often kind of brightly colored back then, you know?
Right. And you've always said you wish there was a wrestler out there that was a combination between Braun Breaker and Trinity.
I have, yeah. You know that. Everyone knows that about me.
You never stop talking about it. So I'm glad we finally found one.
Yeah, thank God.
Right. So Roy's like, well, Dave, I've never heard you do much on the mic other than grunt, which is a funny little line. So he was like, yeah, I'll give you a minute to come up with some bars and here. And then he tells the music guy to hit the beat, and then he raps. A lot of, so at first I thought he was Jamaican. And then I looked it up, and he's not. He's just some segment of UK, England, whatever the hell. But he's like, yeah, let me tell you something. Yeah, you all right? You know, mate? You know? It's basically how he talks.
Dave Mastiff has tits, and he's a big baby. That's all I wrote was Johnson with a bad rap, something about Mastiff.
Bad? How dare you, sir?
Having
he
tits
ethered him.
And being a big baby.
He's going to bang his mom. Didn't you hear him?
Shit,
so, yeah, it was
serious.
It was something. But Dave, I'm going to tell you this. Dave Mastiff was not interested in rapping.
No, he was not. Like. He was interested in Pearl Harbor jobs.
There you go.
With seemingly a foreign object of some sort, it appeared.
Did he? I think it's just like his meaty hand.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But the second PHJ, you gotta love it.
I love a good PHJ. So Roy Johnson in the ring, didn't do, a lot. There was a spot where he hit a big Samoan drop on Dave Mastiff, which of course is a power lifter. He's got to show his strength.
Yep.
Other than that, he didn't really do a lot of moves that like the Ultimate Warrior wouldn't do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So but he's a big, strong guy. He's charismatic.
Yeah,
just throw out some shoulder blocks, whatever.
It was fine. Yeah. Mastiff though was tight.
Yeah, big fan of Mastiff in this match and the aftermath. But
yeah, just a big circular boy.
He is circular. But yeah, other than that, the match Roy spends a lot of time, hyping up the crowd. There's a lot of, preparing to do moves and then missing them. Mastiff hits a German in the corner and then hits his cannonball for the win. But Roy was very entertaining, and he seems like a guy who's going to stick around for a while, I would assume.
So you had you seen him? Had he been in Progress before this show yet, or is this his debut?
No.
Okay.
This was his... so they do... I don't know if we talked about this before, but they have these shows called Endeavor in between the chapters, which are like the developmental kind of shows.
Not the merger between WWE and UFC?
I don't think so. I haven't looked into it. But you might be right.
But I think you had mentioned that they have like these intermittent little shows. So,
which I think Roy Johnson's been a part of. But this is his first appearance on like a true chapter. But yeah, good stuff. And Mastiff's. So with the announcement earlier of the Atlas Championship, Dave Mastiff is a big part of the entire show, and this, I'm sure, is just a way to kind of build him, establish him as a front runner for that title. And of course, he's the meatiest guy they have. It would make sense for someone like him to win it. But he's basically, he gets the mic after the match, and he's like, he tells the guy to hit the beat like he's going to rap, but then he's like, nope. And the crowd hates that. So did I.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted him to rap.
Me too.
He looks at Roy Johnson, and he's like, nothing but pure shit comes out of that W's, which is fun. Fun little line. And he's excited about and I quote, the big tasty fuckers.
Oh yeah.
Atlas
tasty fuckers.
I'm going to describe people as tasty more often.
I'm excited about it too.
I can't wait. But anything else on this whole shenanigan here?
I would say of the whole show, this is probably the weakest match. I mean, it wasn't very long, but and again, it wasn't bad by any means. But I didn't have too many notes here, nothing that you didn't really already talk about. But and like you said, I think this was more to kind of help continue to put over Mastiff and build towards the Atlas Championship. And he called out both of our boys, Rampage and Big Daddy Walter, as part of the Big Tasty Fuckers crew. So, I'm sure that'll probably be pretty damn good once you get. I assume Mastiff will mix it up with one, if not both of those guys. So
I would assume so, yeah. But
nothing too much else to say here. I don't think. I think the post-match promo was maybe the highlight of it.
Yeah, I would say the pre and post were the story here. And it was with a match in between that happened to be there. It's kind of, but boy, howdy, we got something next. We got a tables, ladders, and chairs tag team match.
Yeah.
And the losing team must disband from Progress.
Probably should have gotten some better ladders for this one.
Believe me, we have a lot to talk about the British and their shitty furniture.
Damn.
We got, and by the way, we covered the beginning of this feud, I believe.
Yeah,
the Sumerian Death Squad.
Yeah. I believe did Origin beat them beat the SDS because of the London riots interference, if I recall correctly?
I believe it was a triple threat tag team match.
Oh, okay.
And I think the riots, like they had their cricket bat or whatever, they accidentally hit one of the SDS guys, and then this allowed the Origin to win.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Or there was like an 8-man tag, I think.
Yeah.
And they were on the same, like these two teams were on the same team, and there was some miscommunication.
Yeah.
But basically, two like big bad tag teams in Progress have been feuding for several months at this point. And this is the culmination. Obviously, the SDS and the London riots are are in this match. So, look, tables, ladders, and chairs, you kind of know. Well, maybe you don't, because if this is in the US, if this was WWE, you would know what you're getting into. But in the Camden Electric Ballroom, I don't think anybody knew what they were expecting with this, because let's talk about these ladders for a second. I'm not like a handyman guy. I'm not, I don't know what the different types of ladders are. This wasn't just your traditional A-frame ladder. This was a stupid like painter's.
Yes.
Like you had to slide it like one side up, and then you had to do something in the middle. It was I don't know if they had a tutorial on these ladders, but it seems like they weren't paying attention if they did.
Not ideal for a ladder match. Let's put it that way.
No.
As we come to find out time and time again.
Dude, it's well, first of all, when they come out, there's tables, ladders, and chairs like all around the ring set up. The ladder that's like set up next to the ring is like shorter than everybody in this match.
It's like a 5-foot ladder. Yeah.
And the fucking that's a contract hanging. Nobody's getting that shit with that ladder. So I don't even know why that was there. But
you see any WWE TLC match these days, there's 50 fucking ladders surrounding the ring, 20 feet tall, that actually open up like they're supposed to and don't fucking need 4 people to hold.
Right. I mean, as far as the plunder in this match, look, the chairs did what they had to do, right? The chairs came to play. They knew what they were there for. They were no bullshit. Sit in it, get hit with it, whatever, anything in between, all good. Ladders, look, you couldn't climb the shit, but hey, you can at least slam people on it. You can maybe tombstone pile driver off the second rope through one, perhaps if you want to.
Yeah.
However, these goddamn tables, right? First of all, it was like 20 minutes before a table was introduced because they weren't even using the tape. They were using other weapons as tables.
Yes.
More so than the tables themselves, but I can see why.
Yeah, if they knew what kind of fucking tables these.
I don't know what these tables are designed to hold, but
not humans.
Apparently not more than 200 pounds because Jesus Christ. I mean, they kept trying to like lay each other on the tables, and one just straight out collapsed.
Yeah,
I forget who it was.
Dante.
Of course.
Why is
Dante the guy you?
One of the riots just tried to set him on the table, and he immediately just broke through it. It was fucking hilarious.
Like comically soft too, because it immediately began to bend.
Yes.
The James Davis, I think, is putting him on it, and he's like gingerly like a baby in a crib, just like, all right, lay down there, and then it collapses.
And Dante's face is just like, motherfucker. Like he just had a fucking blank stare on his face. Like, are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
You can't sell that. No. You look like a goose. But and then they do it again, like a second time.
Yeah.
Well, after that, so they get a second table, and then that one like barely holds. But then they do another spot with another table, and it like collapses again. Yeah. So it's like, at what point do you just stop using the tables?
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean, there was some brutal. Like the first half of this match was really good because I mean, all the brutal spots. I mean, any like spots stick out to you because there's a lot happening here.
The tombstone you mentioned, there was a ladder and a chair, I think. So it was a tombstone onto the chair through the ladder, which kind of killed Tommy End for a little while.
Yeah.
There was a nasty Death Valley driver through a chair. I think it was Lynch on Dante. Oh, and the fans chanted Botchamania immediately after that table broke, which was pretty funny. The Meteora by Tommy End through the table onto Lynch was pretty tight. End got launched into the chairs outside multiple times, which was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched any Best of the Super Juniors this year, but I feel like that happened multiple times throughout the tournament where people just got chucked into the 6th row.
Yeah, it's big in Japan for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I think the first half, 2/3, before all the shit started to fuck up, it was a pretty damn good, brutal TLC match, but couldn't help be taken out of it a little bit with the furniture failures here, which again is nothing on the rest of the performers. It sucks for them that this shit happened because it was, it could have been a really epic, great match, but unfortunately it fell short largely because of the fucking furniture failures. But all told, I thought it was pretty solid. Could have been much better, but pretty good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, I mean, the first like 2/3 of it, I mean, like all those spots you mentioned, there's chairs getting thrown at people. By the way, it was one thing that I noted here. So there was a couple spots here where somebody would be like sitting on the top rope, and then another guy would throw a chair at the guy on the top rope.
Yeah.
My question is, what happens if that chair misses or it like rebounds into the crowd? Somebody just gets hit with a chair. They got lucky here. Maybe there's an art to it, but it seemed very sketchy to me.
I did like how towards the end when the ladder was really breaking down and you had like at least 2 refs holding it up. One of the commentators is like said Davis was able to Kofi Kingston his way up the ladder, which I thought was pretty funny. But man, it seemed like the match should have ended on like a previous climb. you know, and then whoever it was, Davis or Lynch, just couldn't get up there. And it was kind of hard to watch, you know, the last couple of minutes. Cause like you can tell, like, oh, I think that should have been it. And he fell. And they were just like, everyone else is just kind of like sitting in the corner. And it's like, all right, motherfuckers, let's get, and like, even when he got the contract, he barely got it, you know, because he's like fucking reaching because he could only climb so high. So unfortunate stuff there for, again, like I said, what could have been a really epic type match. But get better shit, Progress. It's not that hard.
Really? I mean, because like you said, there was a spot where the ladder was set up. They eventually, by the way, get a big boy ladder, which is tall enough to get this fucking contract.
But still the same type of fucking ladder.
Yeah. So nobody knows how to climb it. But yeah, to your point, I think it was Davis and Dante were on it. And then it was Davis and Tommy End were on it. They both climb the ladder. They're on each side of the ladder. And then it's clearly supposed to be like Tommy End falls and James Davis reaches up for the contract, but the ladder like tips over. And then, but the Davis has to like kind of sell the fall, but also get right back up. So it's a lot of that, which is unfortunate. But props to these guys anyways for figuring it out. And barely, if Davis was 1 inch shorter, he would not have been able to reach that contract.
You're absolutely right.
So the London Riots win eventually. So the Sumerian Death Squad can no longer team in Progress, which, you know, whatever. Tommy N can go have a singles run. I'm all for that.
Had they been kind of a fixture as a tag team from the jump, or kind of when did they kind of come on the scene as a tag team here in Progress?
So my understanding is that they kind of came together in WXW in Germany, which I've seen a few matches here and there.
Same.
And Tommy End came to Progress on his own, and then eventually he brought over Dante.
Gotcha.
So they haven't been a team there super long, maybe like a year and a half or so. But
what about the Riots?
Oh yeah, they've been there since pretty much day one.
So it would have been a bigger deal if they had lost. Okay, I hear you.
Yeah, they were like the first tag team basically in Progress. Like before there was even tag team championships, they were a tag team. So
this is probably the end of the relevance for old Michael Dante.
I would assume so. I think he's still doing stuff on like the Indies and Europe, but otherwise, he's been replaced by Brody Lee and Buddy Matthews essentially. So
I mean Brody King. Be wild if
Brody
it was
King.
Brody Lee.
King.
R.I.P.
Plot twist. But after that, so that brings the first half of the show.
Well, we got can't go without mentioning, we got the old mutual sign of respect here after the match as well. Code of honor adhered to, some hugs. You know, I always like we used to just call it the mutual. You know, you gotta love a nice mutual.
Love a good mutual. Yeah, Tommy. Well, I'm glad you bring that up because once Davis grabs the contract, you see Tommy N just like sitting in the corner. He just looks annoyed.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm glad this is over.
Yeah,
and then
thank God.
He grabs the mic and he's like, well, fuck, which wasn't sure if that was supposed to be like kayfabe, like, oh, now we lost and we're not a tag team, or if that was like, that was shit.
Yeah.
Probably both. But to your point, he's like, you two are the toughest sons of bitches I've ever seen, and they shake and hug. So putting over the Riots here as they go forward. I assume they'll face the Origin at some point. That is if they retain in this next match. We got the Progress Shields on the line, the tag team titles. Here they are, Nathan Cruz and El Ligero representing the Origin versus Tommaso Ciampa and Zack Sabre Jr.
What a team. Yeah.
Tommy Champs, ZSJ, they've had 2 one-on-one matches against each other in the previous chapters, and each guy has won 1 match. So they're tied up basically, but they're here. They've had like mutual respect, so they're here teaming together, going for the tag team titles. There's an aftermath of this show or of this match, which is arguably the more significant thing that happened. But as far as the match itself goes,
the
it was
match
good.
Was pretty tight though. Yeah.
Very good. I mean, you get what you expect with the Origin, just shitty heels. I mean, from the entrances, it's always so long before the match starts.
Dude, they're great though. I mean, this is only the second match I've seen, but like, they are just a great heel tag team. You know, always cheating at every opportunity, double teaming at every opportunity. You know, all the little things that make heel tag teams great. I think they've got it in spades. And Yeah, and I mean, it was just very interesting and cool to see Ciampa and ZSJ team up, until it broke down eventually. But like, the teamwork they had together on the outside, there was a lot of outside fighting early on. I feel like Ciampa hit his running knee like 4 times around the ring on these guys.
From the stage, getting a running start. Awesome.
But yeah, and then like the second half of the match, I think really settled down and was just really good back and forth tag team action. And yeah, I thought this was probably the match of the night to this point. The main event tops it, I'd say for sure. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. Just good stuff here.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, the Origin, they spend a good chunk of this match being the heels that they are, controlling the match. But Ciampa gets the hot tag at some point, coming in like a house of fire. We get the old DIY double team with Ciampa but Zack Sabre Jr. So it's pretty much the same thing, but instead of a super kick from Johnny Gargano, it's a PK, I guess, from Zack.
Great near fall there too.
Oh yeah, lots of good near falls in this one. The Origin hit their DDT into a wheelbarrow German.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah,
with the bridge. Oh, beautiful.
We had the moment. It was ZSJ and Ciampa had each in like an arm bar, seeming maybe it was going to be a tap out scenario, and Cruz rolled up ZSJ for like a 2 7/8, really close near fall there. So,
yeah.
And that's when I think Ciampa accidentally hit ZSJ with the discus lariat. Ligero followed up with a big splash, more near falls. Then the double team move, like the big backstabber into the PK. And, it's seeming like, oh, man, they're going to get it. And Cruz got like Ligero's cape or whatever, I think it was, and like just threw it over Ciampa's head. And then Ligero with the low blow on ZSJ for the win. Yeah, I thought, the last few minutes, excellent, great near falls, great back and forth. And I'll kind of let you take it away here for the post match. But yeah, I thought this was very, very fun stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And I do love how you have all these like intricate double teams and all these like elaborate near falls, and there's just a low blow and a roll up for the win. So
love it. Origin through and through, baby.
Absolutely. So they retain, and Ciampa and Zack are left in the ring.
Real quick before we get to this, got to mention at least the very beginning how they refused to get in the ring, picked up their shield and walked out for what felt like 2 minutes before they reappeared.
At least they like redid their entrance without the music.
Unfortunately,
their
without
capes
the
back
music.
on.
Yeah, one of the commentators is like, "Yeah, I was just talking to him backstage, and they don't want to fight Zack Sabre Jr. and Ciampa." But then I guess they decided that they would. But sorry, I forgot. I thought that was pretty funny. And
I'm glad you. But that was hilarious. Like I said, they take so long.
Classic Origin, baby.
Oh man, riling up the crowd for sure. They're the best.
Now the post match.
But speaking of riled up, Tommy Champs is pretty riled up. He's not too happy about this result.
No,
he's Zack was the one that got pinned. So Ciampa is basically, there's no mic or anything, but he's yelling at Zack. This is your fault. And they're like pie facing each other, and Ciampa's like oh whatever. He just shakes his hand. He's like pissed, but he shakes his hand and hugs him, and he walks out. Zack walks out, or starts to walk out. He starts walking up the steps to the stage, and then Ciampa's back. Sprints out, knee to the face of Zack, to the ring, throws him in the ring, gives him another running knee without the knee pad.
Brutal.
Bone to face, knocks him out. Ciampa grabs the mic. He's like, "Hey,
fuck you, and especially fuck you."
He's not too happy. He's not too happy, the Blackheart. So he's pissed that he lost this match, but there's also the underlying thing of, I guess, Zack had like taken, because Ciampa here, I think he's in NXT at this point. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
Or at least he's like about to be.
Yeah, that
he's very
makes
close.
sense, because he and Gargano had that first round Cruiserweight Classic match.
Right.
It was amazing, which again was probably right after this. So yeah, he must have been there mixing it up already. So
I guess Ciampa has left PWG and Evolve, I guess, but Zack Sabre Jr. has, to Ciampa's, what he said is that he said Zack had taken a spot in Bola and Evolve. So Ciampa's pissed at that. and he's pissed that the fans call him the best in the world because, of course, he thinks he's the best in the world.
Of course.
So, and then you also have the fact that they've had 2 matches. They're 1-1. So they're going to have the rubber match, and it's going to be in September at the O2. So Jim Smallman's there. He confirms it. So another big match for that big show set up here. I'm sure it'll be a dandy. So.
And ZSJ called him a cunt.
He sure did. They do that a lot over there.
They do. And also just wanted to note, I loved, again, because I'd never seen it prior to the last show, Ciampa's Psycho Killer entrance with the song.
Oh,
very awesome. The crowd getting into it. But I assume this will probably be the last time for that, as he just turned on him and is obviously halfway out the door. But just wanted to give that props again because it's pretty cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Good heat for Ciampa coming out of this, especially considering how hot he was coming into it. So yeah, that'll be fun. But we got Thunder Bastard.
Yeah.
Brett. You familiar with the Thunder Bastard match?
I was not previously, but I assume is this something that had happened before in Progress?
Yeah, so this is the 3rd Thunder Bastard match.
Gotcha.
And the previous 2, the winner got a title shot at the Progress Championship.
Okay.
But this one is
for
for the title.
Yes.
You got the champion, which, by the way, new champion since you were last on here, Marty Scurll.
Yes.
Who beat Will Ospreay, I believe it was 2 chapters ago.
Another guy I wish he hadn't done the shitty things he did because I fucking miss him. He was so great.
Love watching him wrestle, man. It's
we noted. So my buddy Azar, who's a big wrestling friend of mine, was in town Wednesday. So I watched this match with him. So I didn't take any notes, but I certainly watched it. So I'll kind of have you lead the way here. And I feel like I had something else to say about that. But what were we just talking? It was something else I think that Azar said or did, but whatever. It'll come
if it comes up, feel free to butt in.
But I think that was his first time seeing Progress as well. And he's a big, New Japan, AEW guy as well. So we both, it was fun to watch it with someone else and very, very fun match. Oh, I know what we were talking about. I don't know if you've seen it. It was Ospreay versus Scurll in New Japan, Sakura Genesis 2018 for the junior title. I believe Meltzer gave it 5 stars, and I agree. Just an incredible match. So if you haven't seen that one, and for any of the listeners out there, highly recommend if you can still stomach the old villain, because that was him. Both those guys at their, Ospreay's gotten a lot better since, but at the time, both those guys at their best and just great shit. So
I've seen a few of their New Japan matches. I don't know if I've seen that one in particular. There was one, I don't know if this narrows it down, but there was one where Will Ospreay took a nasty neck bump on the apron.
This is it. That's it.
Okay, yeah, I have seen that match. Yeah,
it's like 30 minutes. It's like 30 minutes. They just fucking go to war. And yeah, he does. Yeah. I think it's like a Spanish fly out of the ring, and he like hits his head on the hardest part of the ring.
We're having fun.
It was a nasty apron bump, baby.
Come on now.
Yeah.
That's the name of the show.
Yeah.
Could call it a Thunder Bastard, though. That'd be sweet. But the concept of the Thunder Bastard, it's essentially, it's a gauntlet match, ultimately. Yeah. It's just, that's really what it is, right? There's no difference. It's just, it starts out with 2 people. And then, every 2 minutes, somebody comes out. You eliminate people by pinfall, submission, or disqualification. Last one standing wins. So, it's not just a gauntlet.
Not over the top in any way,
Nope.
Not like a Rumble.
You don't have to hang a title. It's not a reverse ladder match or reverse battle royal. Nothing's on a pole or a forklift here. It's just a gauntlet match.
Too bad no Judy Bagwell here.
Unless I missed it. Yeah, I didn't see any Judy Bagwell. But I'll run through it. There's a lot happening here. Feel free to interrupt me when your pickle is tickled. So we start out with so it's 9 people. I'll say this, and it starts out with Mark Haskins and Paul Robinson.
Bald asshole.
The bald assholes here. Also, another note here is that the previous 2 winners of the Thunder Bastards were Mark Haskins and Will Ospreay, who were both in this match, and Marty Scurll had been the runner-up in both of them. Now he's in here as the champion, so it's a little subplot there.
Takes his time getting in the ring, spends a good chunk on commentary, which I certainly enjoyed.
Oh, of course. Oh, yeah. Because when I saw this, I was like, okay, it's a bit unfair to the champion, but he makes it, he evens the score. I'll just say that.
Yes.
So Haskins and Robinson start out, and I mean, it's only 2 minutes in between entrants, so nothing really significant happens until everybody's out there.
Yeah.
Which it's also interesting that nobody gets eliminated until everybody's out there. So, but Haskins, Robinson start out. The next is Gibson. Zach Gibson comes out. Him and Robinson team up a little bit.
Which you make it like, I forgot how fucking big that guy is. Like he stood out, especially with these two guys, but really in the whole match, just like, that's a big fucking dude. And I just didn't really, I mean, I haven't seen like a ton of him. I've seen him on the previous Progress, like when they were the grizzled young veterans in NXT. But man, he was big. Stood out.
He's a big boy. Yeah, because this match is mostly cruiserweights. So definitely a comparison. Which kind of plays into because the beginning, it's a lot of, Ospreay comes out. Him and Paul Robinson tease a little Swords of Essex stuff. Like it's like reluctantly teaming up, almost like it's like muscle memory for them. And they're like, wait a minute, I didn't mean to do. So that was fun. Then we get Junior hitting the electric ballroom.
Yeah, you better believe I was full mast for that, even though it was only 15 seconds, because he fucking skirted his way out there real quick.
Veins were out of that hog of yours as Mark Andrews comes out. Crazy. He had probably the most entertaining entrance into, because he's just flipping all over the place.
Around. Yeah.
Look at that guy.
He's awesome.
And then next is his FSU partner, Eddie Dennis, coming out here. Little lucha himself, little 6'1" knee by Eddie Dennis.
I couldn't remember if he was on the previous show or not, but that's definitely a guy I've not seen much of. But I enjoyed him here for sure.
He's a big deal in Progress for sure. He's he's not like a world title contender, at least from what I've seen, but he's always like one of the most over guys for sure.
Upper mid card, if you will.
Him and Mark Andrews, I don't know if you're familiar, but they're a team. FSU. They were the first ever tag team champions, I believe.
Okay.
In Progress. So they got some stuff behind them.
Yeah.
But then Eddie hits like an avalanche Samoan drop, but while also doing a fall-away slam to Will Ospreay and Paul Robinson. Out comes Flash Morgan Webster. Out next, hits a double poison Rana to Mark Andrews and Paul Robinson.
I do want to give old Flash and Andrews credit for their current work and Impact. They've
Subculture.
They've reemerged and have had great matches with Ace and Bay for the tag titles, and then the Motor City Machine Guns the following week. They came up on the short end of the stick both times, but great to see those guys, because I talked last time, I've always enjoyed what I've seen from them in Progress, the limited stuff in NXT. So I'm just happy to have those guys on my television screen because they're fucking fun.
They had a they had a NXT UK takeover match against the Grizzled Young Veterans.
Yeah,
I forget which one. I think it was the Wales one.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
That was if there was one match I would recommend from these two guys, it'd be that one. So we have all at this point, you got a bunch of guys out there. Everybody's flying around. You got Ospreay and Andrews and Webster doing all their flips and topes and shooting star presses. So it's a lot of, and Haskins with a suicide dive. You got Eddie Dennis and Mark Andrews doing a double helo over the top. Everybody's flying all over the place. And then out comes Rampage Brown.
Yes.
Big, meaty man.
Guy.
Definitely going to be in the Atlas tournament, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
So Rampage has had enough of this flippy dippy bullshit. He just shits on everybody once he gets in there. People are flying at him. He's swatting them down. He's catching them. He's slamming everybody. I was wrong. His entrance was the most entertaining, I think. So I think that just leaves Marty Scurll, I believe, is the last one out. So he's the champion, but he's the last one out, which makes sense. You would figure he deserves an advantage.
8 other guys, yeah.
Exactly. But he comes out onto the stage where the commentary table is, by the way, and he decides to kick Glenn Joseph out of his chair, takes his headset, and sits around and commentates for a bit. Why rush, right?
Yeah.
Take your time.
I agree.
So he sits there and commentates on the match for at least 5 minutes. Then So
and was very entertaining. Again, can't remember any specifics, but he was definitely making me laugh for sure. And just a lot of like yelling, he was loud and boisterous and just kind of yelling, and it was good shit.
He was like someone would hit a big move in the ring, and he'd be like, "Oh, that hurts."
Yeah, yeah.
I bet that would hurt if I was in the ring.
Yeah,
and then people. This is when the elimination starts. Or when the eliminations start, and Rampage hits this huge ass pile driver on Paul Robinson, spikes him into the air.
Yeah, that was an incredible sell by Robin, or maybe it even wasn't a sell, but he just fucking popped his ass up.
That bald head spiking the mat,
very similar to the Scott Hall stunner sell, where he just fucking flies in the air.
Yeah,
loved it.
So Paul Robinson gets eliminated, and Marty on commentary is like, "Man, this is easy. I'm doing great in this match." It's such a dickhead.
Whoop whoop.
But and then Zach Gibson. By the way, I think like the first 4 or 5 eliminations are all from Zach Gibson, because actually Rampage hits the pile driver, and then Zach Gibson like throws Rampage out and picks the bones.
Yeah.
Just so he can get the credit for it, I guess.
You gotta love.
And so at this point, Dave Mastiff comes out.
Hell yeah.
And starts brawling with Rampage, because 2 Atlas boys going at it here.
Big tasty fuckers.
Yes, thank you. Very much so. Very tasty. These 2 boys.
And very big.
Very big. Everything kind of breaks down at this point. Mastiff and Dennis go at it a little bit too. I guess Dennis would make sense to also be a part of this. I assume he's over 205. He's a pretty lanky boy.
Yeah, I would think so.
We got a Shankly Gates. I think Mastiff does something to Dennis, and then Gibson locks in the Shankly Gates submission to Eddie Dennis, and he has to tap out, so he's eliminated. And Andrews goes for a shooting star press onto Gibson, but Gibson gets the knees up, a heavy bump on those knees, by the way.
Yes, it was.
Because he rolls him up right after for the elimination. And I was like, that's a convincing way to go out.
Gibson, I'd forgotten Gibson really did kind of get the lion's share of the earlies. Again, like I said, just big fucking dude throwing his weight around out there. Other than Rampage, like you said, like he's by far the biggest guy. So,
right. Webster and Ospreay go. I just noted that because they had a crazy exchange where like Ospreay went to go suplex Flash, and then Flash like went up in the air into a Hurricane Rana. It was just smooth as hell.
Yeah.
But eventually, Zach Gibson's back in. Shankly gets to Flash. Flash taps out, and then Haskins with a sit-out Samoan driver to Rampage and eliminates him,
which was unfortunate and kind of surprising.
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Nothing against Mark Haskins. I just wanted to see more of my Rampage daddy out there.
No, Rampage came in like he was going to win this thing.
Yeah.
So it was surprising to see him just like
in the middle of the pack. He pile drove like multiple people, didn't he? I feel like I remember him just laying people out for a bit. But obviously Robinson was the only one that get pinned by it. But I definitely remember he fired out a few of those big pile drivers.
He tends to do that. So
yes,
that would make sense to me. So we're down to 3, I believe. No, 4. We're down to 4.
Yeah, because
this is when
Girl finally gets in around this time, right?
Yep, hops right in, and Haskins has been dealing with shoulder issues for a while. I don't know if on the show we covered, he's been wearing like the kinesio tape for a couple chapters now.
Yeah.
This is the first one in a while where he hasn't had any tape or anything on his shoulder, and also his shoulder's been worked on through the entire match. So Skrull eventually, obviously with the chicken wing, I guess affecting the shoulder.
He pretty much gets him like right after he gets in the ring, right?
Yes. Yeah, he just swoops
slides in and fucking chokes his ass out, which again, you gotta love.
Yeah. So Haskins taps. So now we're down to 3. We're down on Marty Skrull, Zach Gibson, and Will Ospreay. So these 3 kind of go at it for a while. It feels like.
Yeah, this part I thought was pretty great too. I mean, obviously a lot of Skrull, Ospreay, just one, Gibson I think was taking a nap for a little bit, but you got to see those 2 kind of showcase what they can do together, which is magic. Like those 2 were awesome. And Gibson was just kind of, he'd come in and get in the action for a bit. But I can't remember, how was he eliminated? Gibson.
So it all like culminates like right at the end. So because I think both the last two eliminations are like right after each other. Right after each other. But yeah, to your point, Gibson. So it's a lot of Skrull versus Ospreay, and then Gibson will like because like Ospreay had a shooting star to Marty, but then Gibson tried to pick the bones again by throwing Will out and trying to pin Skrull, but only gets a 2 count. There's one point where Ospreay and Skrull both have like are trying to like backslide each other. Then Gibson like flips them both over and has them both pinned at the same time.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yes,
that was all. Yeah.
I
would have been happy if that was the finish.
Yeah, I'm like, you don't see that shit very often, and if that would have ended it, that would have been sick. Yeah, I do recall that.
Skrull and Gibson have a fun little exchange where they're trading submissions. Ospreay in with a 450 elbow, which was fun. I don't think I've seen that before. Skrull hits Ospreay's Essex Destroyer onto Ospreay,
which is a
flipping DDT.
Yeah, I know we talked about it last time, but that move is nasty.
Sick.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But Gibson eventually gets eliminated by Ospreay with a standing Spanish fly, which again felt like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then right after, like before the elimination of that is even announced, Skrull just rolls up Ospreay for the quick win.
Yeah, so it was very abrupt. I do recall that now. It's like, oh shit, that match was pretty nuts, and now it's over.
Yeah. So,
but it Skrull made sense, in the scope of everything, especially with how Skrull was operating here and how Gibson was operating
to do what he had
too.
To do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was great stuff.
So Marty retains, and he grabs the mic, and he says that he just proved that he's the best Progress champion of all time, which he just beat the top 8 contenders, so it's hard to argue that.
I bet Jimmy Jacobs would have something to say about that.
I mean, Jimmy Havoc.
Yes.
They're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah. That's you, and you know who I meant. Is he still around at this point? Or I just remember you saying like he was definitely like the top heel, for the first good chunk, and was champ quite a bit. But is he still around at this point?
So he's been gone for a while. So he lost the title, and then he faced Paul Robinson, I think, at the chapter after that, and they had a brutal street fight. And that was the last we saw of him. I forget, it might have been chapter like 21, I think it was. So it's been, and Marty, because they chant Jimmy Havoc, the crowd does. Yeah. When Marty's like, there's no one else.
Yeah,
Jimmy Havoc.
I noted that, yeah.
But Marty says that Jimmy Havoc broke his knee, which I don't know if that's true or what I guess he's injured, Jimmy Havoc, at this point. Yeah. I don't know where that lies in the timeline here, but Havoc's not there as of right now. But Marty's like, well, I'm not defending my belt at the next chapter. And then Jim Smallman, who's ringside, is like, all right, well, you're going to defend your belt at WrestleCon. Is it WrestleCon? Is that what he said?
Yeah, I think that's right.
So I guess Skrull's going to the U.S., and he's going to defend his Progress Championship at WrestleCon against Will Ospreay. And this is announced here. It's funny. Smallman says that, and Ospreay just like appears out of nowhere behind Marty and grabs his tie. It's very dramatic. But so we got that coming up. But yeah, good stuff here. I mean, anything we missed on that one?
Again, like I said, I didn't have notes, so nothing that I can recall. But yeah, it was just great action, very fun stuff. I liked, as I've said, having Skrull kind of do the commentary and swoop in and, get the dub at the end, the action between he and Ospreay. Rampage cleaning house. Like you said, Andrews was just a house of fire, the whole time he was in there. Good old junior boy. But yeah, this was a ton of fun and, pretty much what I would expect with these 9 guys, all pretty great and great way to cap off this show. Yeah, very, very enjoyable. And like I said, fun to watch, with another big wrestling fan as well. So we definitely enjoyed this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was good to see this match end on a big brain play by Marty. But speaking of brains, speaking of busting nuts, maybe? The Brainbuster Boys, Oliver Boy. Yeah, Brainbuster Boys podcast. Once again, Brett, thank you once again for checking out the show, coming on, talking about it. Where can everybody find you, listen to you, and suck on your nipples?
Yeah, that could be on Noodle Magazine. No. Are you familiar? Did I tell you about Noodle Magazine?
You might have, but remind me what that is.
It's a porn site that just happens to have like so many full, largely Japanese wrestling shows. So it's become a kind of a go-to. Yeah.
I think
So,
you did tell me about this.
So like I
I
have a Stardom subscription, but like it often takes like days for them to upload their shows. So sometimes I'll just go to Noodle Magazine and it'll be up like the next day and I'll be like, fuck it, I ain't gonna wait. And like finding random like Big Japan, because there's this one guy named Yuji Okabayashi who I love, and full shows. You know, it's just it's wild. But you can find the Brainbuster Boys on Twitter and Instagram, even though I haven't posted on Instagram in a while, at Brainbuster Boys, on the Visionaries Global Media Network, on all major podcasting platforms. I guess that's what everyone says these days. But we are in the midst of a storyline called Vince and the Machine, where Vince McMahon is struggling with his current irrelevancy and builds an AI robot to help him write wrestling storylines. So we are two parts out of 5 through that. The next one should be coming out next week, and we'll be mixed with, you know, our normal wrestling commentary. But we duck in and out of these storylines every once in a while, and they're always very fun. So be sure to check that out. And also, you can find me on the Phoenix Splash podcast, also on the Visionaries Global Media Network, with my co-host JCB from the Band from Ringside podcast. And we talk any and everything Japanese wrestling. So check it out if you that shit gets you hard.
Are you also on Noodle? Was it Noodle Magazine? Is that what it was?
Not yet, but I'll work on getting the shows up there as well.
Do you ever like search out a wrestling show on there and you're like, you accidentally run into porn and you're like, well, I guess I gotta do this now.
Maybe.
The Japanese porn though?
No, it's got all kinds of porn. I mean, it's everything. Okay. Yeah, everything under the sun, I'm sure. But yeah,
so it
was a wild
discovery. Blurred out wieners?
No. I mean, I'm sure there's some. But I can't remember. I mean, it was well over a year ago at this point. I was looking for just a specific match, something probably off the wall. And like the whole show was on this site. And there's fucking porn ads everywhere. So it's like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. It works. And you can Chromecast as well, which makes it easy. Because that's the thing with Stardom service. Like Stardom service sucks. Like you can't Chromecast. It's like 3-4 days late. So it's like I'm always like plugging in an HDMI cord. And it's just like Noodle Magazine makes it so much easier and accessible.
Noodle Magazine gets you everything you need.
Oh, everything. Wrestling,
use your noodle,
porn.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how to end shows sometimes.
Oh yeah, we always just like to just peter out and just go like, bye, thanks, cool, see ya. There we go.
There we go. We fade out. Yeah.
Yeah, we're holding our shields.
Laguero's here. He has horns. Once again, thank you to Brett from the Brainbuster Boys podcast for joining me on this big old progress episode. Go check out the Brainbuster Boys wherever you listen to podcasts. All of their socials in the description, everything you need. Their link trees, their OnlyFans, their tout links, like everything you need for the Brainbuster Boys in the description, show notes, whatever you call it. I don't know. But yeah, good boys over there at the Brainbuster Boys. And hey, I'm a good boy too, I think, sometimes. Wink. Apron Bump on all the social medias, apronbump.com for all my full episodes. YouTube, hey, if you're watching on YouTube, give this daddy a like, leave a comment, hit the bell, jiggle my balls. Sorry, I think sometimes I'm the only one that I make laugh on this podcast, but that's all that matters, right? Is enjoying yourself. Live, laugh, love. It's what I always say. And with that, by the way, if you're still at this point, if you've made it to this part, you're obviously a big old fan of mine. Or you just are like driving and your phone fell in between the seats and you can't change the thing or something. I don't know. But in any case, let me throw this one at you. So if you've listened to my Ring of Honor reviews, you'll know that Some of them, sometimes when Ring of Honor has multiple shows over the course of within 1 month, I'll do a kind of bundle episode where I cover multiple shows in a more of a vague format, more of a overview kind of style. Not every single match and segment we cover, but we talk about, what we've watched in general. And I think because as Progress moves on, they start to have more frequent shows. And I believe the next 2 chapters are both in the same month. So my plan as of right now is to do a little solo bundle episode where, what are we going to call them? Bumple? No, that's dumb. We'll think of a word. But basically, we're going to, chapter 28 and 29 are going to be in the same episode. So, going to do a little double stuffed episode. I always feel bad making guests watch multiple shows, especially with Progress, where they're like 3-hour shows. That's 6 hours of wrestling. It's a lot. But if you're listening, if you're interested in doing something like that, or somebody that may be, feel free to hit Daddy up in the DMs, slide in my DMs, email me if you want. If that's, I do have an email, apronbump@gmail.com. I don't really know. It's just tossing some ideas at the listeners, but I'm going to toss myself out of here because I think we're done for today. Thank you guys so much for listening. I do love you all. I appreciate all of the support you give the podcast. And also, I'm hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started.